Presentation?
No,
Okay. Item number 10, presentation by Sandra Hernandez regarding City Clerk Department.
So the only thing that I have right now is we have the public comment card, which I can address. The mayor and I have been working on this, and what it's going to allow is people that cannot attend city council meetings or they don't wish to speak at the meetings, they can fill out the card and express their opinion on that. Once I receive it back from the people, I'll make copies for all of you. And distribute. Ordinance 320 is coming up again next week on March 6th, and it's going to go for adoption on the 20th. And so, just a few items on that is we're going back to where council will only need 2 signatures to put an item on the agenda. And we are going to move the deadline to submit an item for the agenda to Thursday at 5 p.m. So after that, no items will be allowed. And then we also have just a continuation of the remodeling. You buying picture color, and Mr. Leone will be presenting that next week to you for approval. I'm also going to be presenting the purchase of shutters next week. Any questions? What color did you pick? Night is wrong, which is that last one in the corner. No, the yellow. Right, Mr. Leone?
That is correct.
So it's the one over there by the corner? You all see it?
Which one? Where one? Very far back?
Yeah. We
The
have
orange
to well, do you be a model and go ahead and put it on. This one?
Yes, that one.
This one.
We're also going to be doing,
So is that the top color, the bottom color?
that's the top color, we're going to be doing white paneling.
Let's hold it. Let's get it done.
Okay.
All right.
That's all.
Let's go get it done.
Thank you. All right, number 11, presentation by Adriana Velarte regarding Human Resources Department.
I got you, didn't I? I got you, didn't
Good morning again, Council. My report consists of different items that the department handles throughout the month. Number one is on February the 1st, we had our softball event here at our Rio Vista, which was, I feel was a success. Pretty much, I've been getting a lot of good. Well, there was a little, what we gotta understand is we're one team, not 2 teams, we're one. And I've been getting good feedback, and we are scheduling to do one on March the 22nd. So I'm hoping that we have more participants this time around. I did attend the civil service training from I left the 4th of February, came back on the 7th, and pretty much I just wanted to go over some items that we discussed. We talked about collective bargaining, which our city doesn't practice that, which is a great thing. I'm sorry? The collective bargaining. Techniques for successful negotiations, practical application of negotiations, how to negotiate when you're doing a contract or information. We also had the Civil Service Commission of when we hear a grievance that we shouldn't give out the backup paperwork before the grievance. It's given to them as exhibits once each case is presenting their case. We also received a lot of information on recruiting. That was our last day, which was recruiting of lot of fire chief, police chiefs. Those are the departments which have more problems, issues, concerns in government entities. Do you have any questions regarding that training? Okay, we also, in the month of February, went to Socorro High School. It was Olivia Navarro, Victor Beta, Karina Hegelson, Jessica Diaz from our Parks Department, and the mayor. And we pretty much talked to the students, to the community, getting to know what the city of Socorro is all about, explaining that we want to bring in the internship program, how they go about it. We offered to our students that if they need practice with interviewing skills, techniques, that I am available, they can go ahead and reach out. I will help them build the resume and kind of let them know what employers are looking for. And this was for a class which was college bound, which these people are foreseeing going back to, going to college once they graduate, and just kind of letting them know that we would love them to come back to our community once they do receive their degree, that we're here to help them. We also conducted 21 interviews for the month, 6 for public relations coordinator, 4 for the public works director. We had 5 interviews for building inspector and 5 for code enforcer in the month. The vacant positions were public works director, which we've already, council voted that yes, you're gonna go with the recommendation to hire Douglas Lobdell. Our building inspector, we went ahead and extended the offer to Carlos Nájera. And we did get the 2 code enforcers, which were Mario Benavides and Hector Jimenez. They are scheduled to start on March the 10th. Our police officer, 3 vacancies, they're still vacant. We have the public relations coordinator, which council approved to hire David Blazinski. And we still have our chief of police vacant. In the month of February, HR received a total of 91 leave requests. 56 of them were for vacation and 35 of them were for sick time. For workers' compensation, we had actually, I had one injury, but we just had one yesterday that was reported that needed medical attention, but there is no loss of time. We currently have 2 people on workers' comp. We did receive an unemployment claim for Guillermina Roberts, but there is no base period wages on her, so that wouldn't affect our account, our unemployment account. HR provided training material to department head and supervisors. Basically, every week we have a department head meeting on Tuesday, and I try to give them a training material that'll help them be better managers. One of them was avoid workplace landmines, meaning look for all the signs that employees give you and act on them. Also, an ounce of encouragement is worth a pound of discipline. Basically, we need to be able to coach our employees to become better employees. Always let them know how they're doing. We did have our civil service meeting on February the 24th. Grievance hearing for Jesus Gomez. His grievance was not approved. We revised the policies for 301 and 302. 301 is our vacation policy and our holiday policy. That actually was accepted, and I'm going to go ahead and present it to our next council meeting for you guys to approve, for council to approve. I had scheduled to have the entire employee handbook, the draft, on March the 24th. That actually has been moved to the month of April because we have a lot of things that I have pending, and I do want to complete it by April. And again, we weren't able this month, it's a short month, and we had a lot of things going on in the department. So basically, we're still, the goals for the HR is to provide staff with training, sexual harassment training, and management training. Again, get control over our absences and our leave requests for the employees, just kind of have everybody follow policy. be the department heads. Pretty much we did the selection. They start on the 10th, and the department head would be the one that would be in charge of sending them to training.
Because I know in the past we sent our officers to get additional, our candidates or whoever, to get additional code enforcement training. I believe it was Austin or San Antonio. Mr. Lynn, do you remember?
Garland,
It will be sent,
Arlington.
Garland, yeah, right.
Garland, Texas.
Or Garland, Texas. So I guess he'll make the provisions for that, or?
Correct, and then I guess after he does his research, he'll present to council in order for them to get approved to go to training.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the 12th, presentation by Jessica Diaz regarding the recreational parks department.
Good morning. I went ahead and provided the calendar, more or less what we have scheduled for the month of March, and along with a couple of rough drafts. There's still rough drafts that they're working on some of the forms that I have created for the Little League. I'm still working on the final guidelines and adding a couple of things. I'm hoping to go ahead and finish that by today and probably turn it into legal on Monday for review. And these I have already turned into legal, and I'm waiting for them to go ahead and let me know if anything needs to be changed, added, anything at all. So, but I did go ahead and provide you more or less. Now, you can see in the calendar that there are a couple of things that are in there that were there last month. We did go ahead and fall behind, especially on the tables. Once we started installing them, we started realizing they were cracking, so we had to go back to the drawing board to go ahead and look at new ways to go ahead and put them. So, and instead of doing a lot of the tables like we had scheduled, we went ahead and took care of other things that also needed attention. For example, we did go ahead and fix the gate at Cougar Park, in the two areas that it had fallen. We had to go ahead and fix all of the roofs at the pavilions at Cougar Park, because a lot of them were lifting. We started noticing when we got a little bit of wind, it does possess safety hazard, and just in case, they do fly off and they hit somebody. So we had to go ahead and fix all of those roofs. We went ahead and created a new entrance at Moon City Park, and the back part where people kept removing the fence, we instead created an entrance to go ahead and let people come in and out, and that way they won't be removing the fence. We cemented the poles, and we went ahead and created everything. We went ahead and we did start installing some tables at Moon City Park. At the moment, we have 1 full, 3 partial, and we have just finished all of the metal cuttings for the other ones. So we have that the first week of March, because we're expecting to go ahead and finish that park at least at that time. From there, we went on to the other parks, and we realized that there's no way to go ahead and do the exact same thing, so we're gonna have to create slabs of concrete, which are scheduled in that calendar to go ahead and take care of. Sorry, we did go ahead and start mulching and seeding at Moon City Park and at Mistaf Park. We started cutting the weeds. Fortunately, since it's a little warm, we started getting a lot of early weeds, a lot of early grass, so we started taking care of that at Montserrat Park, Paradise Park, Cooper Park, and Moon City Park. We started pruning at Bulldog. Well, we did prune at Bulldog, at Cougar, and at Mistaf. We took care of all of the trees, making sure that they were nice and trim to allow them to go ahead and grow back at the early season. We had to go ahead and rewire the water pump at Amistad Park, because when we tried to turn it on, we realized that a lot of the wiring was faulty, so we rewired everything, got it up to date. We went ahead and maintenance it, and now it's working perfectly. Like I said, I went ahead and started working on the Baseball Little League program, on all of the documentation that is needed, the waivers. I went ahead and did a parent pledge. I went ahead and did a volunteer application along with the background information, the background check information. And in the actual guidelines, I'm creating what needs to be pitched, who needs to pitch, in what division, what age group, the draft areas, what is allowed, what is not, things like that. And that will be, once it gets approved by legal, I'll go ahead and put it onto the website, as well as provide it to each individual participant. We started, Mr. Reta and myself from Recreation Center started working on the Easter egg hunt already. At the moment, we have already booked a petting zoo, pony rides, somebody to go ahead and do balloon animals, face painting, and we have already booked a couple of kiddie rides, including a racetrack with go-karts, a jumping balloon, a mega slide, and we're talking about possibly doing an obstacle course. We also began getting quotes from TV stations for advertising regarding that one particular event, and we started getting quotes for the state of the city address. We actually have already gotten all the quotes for the ballroom. We have picked a ballroom, and we already started working on, we have booked that date and started working on what needs to be done for that particular event. We started,
Casablanca, right?
yes, it's gonna be at Casablanca on March 29th. I'm sorry, March 19th.
Wait, I thought it was April 19th.
April 19th, sorry.
With 3 different dates there, I was like,
Yeah.
On April
I didn't see
19th.
that.
We started working on the invitations. We have gotten 2 proofs. We're waiting for the last proof, and that'll go ahead and decide which vendor we go with for the invitations, so that we could go ahead and order them and start passing them out towards the end of March. We're getting a couple of other things for that event, but that'll be kind of a surprise for when people show up. So we are working on them. We are almost completely done with the state of the city address and with the Easter egg hunt. So we're a little ahead of schedule, which is good. That way we can start booking everything for the 4th of July, since everybody tends to book early and we won't be left out with anything. Also, I forgot to mention, we went ahead and we're at Chayo Podaca this morning, making sure that all of the grass, the weeds, everything gets cut. So my employees are out there taking care of everything. That is usually something that goes in the schedule. Last month I didn't put it until we noticed that it was going really fast. Like I said, it's a little warmer than it should be at this time, so we're taking care of that this morning. Any questions?
No, I think it's a comment.
Mr. Ball?
What if you have, say, a coach or a parent that does not read or understand English? Is there any part here where you interpret it?
There isn't. I can go ahead and interpret it. I know how to read, write, and speak Spanish fluently. I can go ahead and do them in Spanish if they would like. It would just take me a little longer.
Well, just maybe a little paragraph stating that it was read to them and they fully understand.
Okay, I could go ahead and put
Instead of
that
going
clause in
through the
there.
whole bit in Spanish, because they might come back and say, you know what? I don't know what they're talking about. My child got injured and I didn't know that I was going to be responsible.
Okay, no, I can definitely go ahead and put that clause in there and make sure that it's there before it's finalized.
Thank you.
I see it here on the calendar you have on the 14th, you have MP to clean it, and also on the 21st to clean it. When are we going to do something to that, to empty, so that we can put some, maybe basketball courts or something else in there? Because it's just bare, except for the,
Well, actually, on the 14th and the 21st, what it is where it says TO, that's Tony, he's going to be cleaning the restrooms, or the restrooms. What the other part concerning Montreal Park is putting the foundations. That means we're starting to go ahead and cement the foundation so we can go ahead and put the tables on there. We couldn't put them on the plain dirt, so we're having to go ahead and frame an area, cement it, and then go ahead and put the tables along with the grill. So it is a little more than we had expected, but which should differ. Now, putting basketball courts, anything like that, that if everything goes as planned as Mr. Rockley has suggested with the 5-year plan, then it could be something that gets deducted from that. There's a particular area for parks. That's what we're going to.
Yeah, once the money comes in for the 10 million, you can go ahead and allocate money for what you want and all that stuff.
but in the meantime, you know, parks are getting something, and I wanted to know what is going to be done for that one.
Well,
Since it's in my area.
the money should come in this summer already, I think, so it shouldn't take that long.
One more thing, I had requested like the details of the Christmas event, because the council allocated about $8,000, and so I wanted to know the details and, you know, what was spent and where, but I never got it, so can I would like the same thing for the Easter hunt, whenever it's done.
When everything is done?
But the Christmas one, I'm pretty sure you have it.
Yes, I do.
She wants an itemized list, that's
Yeah.
what she wants.
Yes, I actually keep track from event to event exactly what was
No, I know you have them.
from
I never
each
had-
vendor, when it was paid, just so that we can keep track of it. I can go ahead and provide that listing to you. Most of it went to lights, because like I said, we didn't have anything. When we looked, we couldn't find anything. So a huge chunk of that went to lights.
Mr. Cross?
As we start using the park more and more for practices and stuff like that, for Little League and all that, you may have to also include on Monday cleanups of the restrooms, especially at Rio Vista. Because when the weekend comes around, the parks are very filthy come Monday morning.
Yes, actually towards the end of March, I know that here we only have it on Fridays, and that's usually because if we get community service during the week, we go ahead and send it. Once it starts getting warm, I recommend that the bathrooms be cleaned at least 3 times a week. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that they're cleaned right after the weekend, which is when they use them the most. They're cleaned in the middle of the week for the kids that are practicing, and right before the weekend, which is, well, unfortunately, we won't be able to clean them during the weekend. That way they're ready for the weekend. So I start putting that in the schedule. I have done it in the past, so I'll go ahead and continue taking care of it. And when I put clean restrooms, that means the ones at Rio Vista, that means the ones at Cougar Park and Bulldog Park. It's all restrooms, those 3 areas. The rest of the parks have portables where the company comes and takes care of that maintenance themselves.
And just one last question. You are using community service people from the courts to clean stuff like this?
Yes.
Okay, that's all.
Yes, and when I put Tony, it's just in case we didn't get any community service, and then he's the one that would go ahead and take care of it. If he's not available, then Moises Rosales goes ahead and takes care of it. So we have a system just in case somebody calls in, we already know who's taking care of what and that. And it's something that the department and I talk about constantly.
And I just got one last comment. I've got to commend you on your work ethic, Jessica. This is great. Everything you've done, your presentations and everything we've done, I have to commend you on your work ethic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 13, presentation by Victor Reta regarding recreational center departments.
Oh, look at that, they had
It was a memo that did it, right?
Good morning.
Hopefully it was not, right?
No, it was. We actually coordinated last night.
Oh, okay.
Good morning. This would be my first monthly report for you guys. I want it to be as extensive as possible so you can see what we're doing and how we're trying to fix everything since the center was without a supervisor for a good chunk of time. I went ahead and broke it down by centers, first starting with Rio Vista. The first thing you'll see after my initial outline is all of our supporting documentation for our efforts, starting with the monthly report. It goes ahead and breaks it down for you by class that we offer at Rio Vista, the amount of people that showed up in the morning. Also at night, our yoga, GED, citizenship classes, senior citizen nutrition program, all that information for logistics is there for you guys to go ahead and see. And that is information up until yesterday. We still haven't added to dates. Going on to the second item would be our agenda items for the month. This month we did have 2, as you guys remember, it was the Hoskin Plumbing and the Senior Citizens Luncheon. Some good things that have happened since I've been there is we already put the outside lights up and running. They were out for a very long time, so those have already been turned on and are up and running. We did have an Obamacare meeting on the 24th of this month. We had the Senior Citizen Registration Program go ahead, yes.
How did that go?
It went really good. It was an open meeting. Texas A&M kind of took the point of it, and that was actually theirs. It wasn't the conference
Oh,
call.
the conference call.
I'll get to that.
Yeah, I didn't know. Just didn't know.
And so we had one on 24th. It was a good response. Texas A&M went ahead and spearheaded that. As far as the senior citizen program goes, though, we do have 18 completed registered senior citizens. We are pending on 13. Upcoming would be the Texas Open House. The flyer is attached for you guys as well. That will be March the 5th in the main building for Rio Vista, and that's going to be the topic of the east expansion for the border freeway. have a Centers Against Family Violence presentation scheduled for March the 18th. We are also in the works with Dr. Michelle Barton with Special Needs Program. We do not currently have one in place for either center. There has been a want for a special needs program or resource center. So our goal is to go ahead and implement that. We also did get feedback from the Young Marines. They do want to use our center a little bit more in terms of like their boot camp. So that's something that's in the works. And we also do have a visit from Mary Gonzalez pending for next month.
Thank you.
Going on for Chaya. You'll go ahead and see the monthly report as of yesterday as well. We do have some IT issues that have been happening, and we're kind of identifying them and trying to rectify the issues along with Mr. Guevara. He is helping us as much as he can, putting up firewalls, blocking access, stuff like that. There has been regular maintenance for the arcades that's pending, and we are also going to go ahead and put an anti-bullying workshop at China. As far as for the department and cross-department collaboration goes, we did go ahead and participate in the softball game for the employees. I did also go to Socorro High School for the career day. I attended the Affordable Care Conference call with Ms. Rodarte and Mr. Leone and Ms. Diaz. It was very short, sweet, to the point. March 8th is what they're calling the National Day of Action. What we went ahead and did is made Child Apodaca should be available for registering for Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act. We are partnering with another Medicare Advantage group locally, so we have actual insurance agents there on site, answer questions, help them register, and go ahead and get that process going. So that's how we're participating.
When's that date? Oh, sorry.
It's going to be Saturday, March the 8th at Chiam from 11 to 6. And we are also creating flyers. We're going to pass them out, go to the schools. I'll send it to the mayor so we can go ahead and put it on social media and stuff like that, as well as to the department heads. Next item would be with help from special projects. I did get invited to the WTEP, which is the West Texas Regional Transportation Program. As you guys know, we did receive a grant to go ahead and get transportation for the seniors, so we're going to be carrying up and working on that. I did serve on the interview panel for the PR coordinator position. We did create a policy at Child regarding content materials for viewing. I did go ahead and participate with Texas A&M for a letter of support, as well as our EPCC GED program. They're attached for you as well. We are partnering with the HR department for the employee badges. It's just something that we don't have in place right now that we're looking to getting. And as far as what I had my employees doing was trainings and projects, which you'll see. We are currently doing at Rio Vista outings for the seniors, whether it's a grocery store, church, the park, pool. We go ahead and get feedback from them. Lincoln Dairy is a favorite for them, so we kind of go ahead and take them. We also went ahead and created digital diagrams that we can put online for more kind of facility requests to get initiated. We are going to try to get everyone CPR certified very soon. And we are currently doing a recycling program interdepartmentally. That way we can reuse and recycle kind of like our water bottles and all the supplies that we kind of use every month. With help from the PD, we did get the lights on, like I said, and then the policies that we went over this month with staff would be our fuel, emergency protocol, and communication. As far as events go, like I said, Day of Action is March the 8th. At Rio Vista, we will have a pop-up missionary clinic. It's at no charge. We will have doctors on site giving out glasses, prescriptions, glucose tests, urinary screening. That will happen on March the 10th on Monday, and that'll be inside Rio Vista.
Next week, right?
I'm sorry?
Next Monday?
Yes. The Easter egg hunt, I'm sorry, before that, the next softball game would be March 22nd, the Easter egg hunt, April 5th, State of the City address, April 19th, and then the Texas A&M Health Fair this year will be April 26th, that's a Saturday. Goals for the department are to continue to create, my network of resources for the seniors in the community of Socorro, acquire better lighting for Chayo, looking into upgrading the software system at Chayo, posting surveillance signs at Chayo, Apodaca. With the help from Ms. Diaz, we are adjusting the landscaping issue at Chayo, and the purchasing for the new vehicle for Rio Vista, creating a job and internship fair for the community of Socorro, and then the topic of communication is what we're targeting for this month in my department. Any questions?
Hey, Victor. When you put the classes, I noticed you guys have like 146, 92. Are those individuals, or are those just people that, like, let's say I go in like 3 times a week? Do I get like 3 times?
No, the checkers don't be counted, just the actual.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, but like, so 246 and 246 different individuals who went to classes?
Yeah, like if
the
you
total
report
number of
them,
people who went to that one class.
no, it's total, not for one class, we're gonna count 16 students per team.
So I noticed that citizenship didn't get anybody. Good job.
I actually,
You're turning your shoes.
Go ahead.
I have a question. How are you making the public aware of the event on March the 8th, I think we said?
for the Obamacare,
Uh-huh.
we are already working on a flyer. Ms. Agüero is actually spearheading that. I gave her that assignment. She's already created a draft that I've already seen. We're gonna go ahead and post a flyer at the schools, kind of paper it, I'm telling the seniors about it. I'll give it to council once it's approved, that way you guys can also help me spread the word. But I don't have really any money for advertising, so just, grassroots marketing.
I don't think you need to have money for advertising, something like that. And I know that the community college has it on their board for the online stuff for people to see. I also know that the media will provide you a community service type deal for free. You don't have to spend anything on that. That might be something that you might want to get together with a new PR, public relations individual, as soon as he steps in, so that we can get the word out to people, so forth. And I'm talking about using the media to do this.
I did inquire with some local publications, as far as the newspaper goes, they weren't sure since it was a political issue. They said it would be covered, and that we could be like supplementary information, like you can get information here, but it wouldn't be like, it would be like a story, but we wouldn't be the main focus.
Yes.
So I have put in works, I'm waiting to reply. I can definitely give you guys an update once I get a plan of action going and what we're gonna do exactly. That's no problem.
Mr. Bowman.
I noticed, thank you for the good work, okay? And another thing is, when there's some kind of a repair job, or anything that needs to be done, is there an effort made to get somebody to support?
Currently, if it's something that happens that we can take care of, I'll put a maintenance request. If not, I kind of go by whatever's on the buy board.
Because I noticed here there's a $1,600 bill, the plumbing company from
For the hospital.
Winter Way. And we have plumbers in support.
Oh, that's what he's saying. Could we give our local
Yes.
businesses?
Yes, the hospital.
Make an effort to hire somebody first. If you can't find somebody, then go out to support.
No, yes, and I'll definitely go ahead and do that. The hospital issue was something that I inherited. So going forward, I will go ahead and give support, first right to go ahead and try to alleviate our issues.
This is the most detailed reporting we've ever done since I can remember. I think there's took a lot of work to do, and I commend you and Jessica, I'm sorry, Yvette, and everybody that put it together. I don't know if she helped you or not.
No, yeah, it was definitely a team effort. My staff taught me greatly rely on.
Are we gonna get another one like this next month?
Yes. And this was a short one, so it was really intense, but we were very busy.
And hopefully you can do some more events there, China Park.
Thank you.
Hey, Victor, so these ID cards are gonna be for council too? I know Montoya hasn't wanted to get any.
That
We
was-
should, no, we should get some for
Yeah.
council too.
They're used to the best.
I think I actually
Still have
myself.
hope.
Hopefully you can go forward with whatever we're discussing right now. For China Park.
And we'll add you guys to the list and get you guys ID cards as well.
All right, thanks, Victor.
Thank you.
Victor.
Presentation 14, presentation by Anita Blaga regarding grants division.
Let me just ask, before you start, let me just ask one question. Sir, what are the legalities? Say for instance, I brought up the issue of trying to recruit locally.
Right.
Here in Socorro. What are the legalities? If you can look into it, whatever, I know you probably don't have the answer right now, but maybe that we can award some, you know how the veterans give veterans point for people in jobs and stuff like that? What are the chances of giving, say, 5 points or something like that for local people that have their degrees and stuff
Right,
like that?
I was been thinking about that as you all are speaking. I don't think we can do that. I do not believe we can do that.
We can't do that?
No, sir.
That'd be discriminatory.
Exactly, because it's not based on what city you live in, it's based on the county.
Yeah.
So we couldn't do that.
Well, that's why I had to throw the question out, because it was in my mind as to how to help out, recruit locally.
Right,
Mr. Bowling's talking about plumbing companies that are out here. Well, we have all kinds of people that can.
correct. Let me get back with you on that, but I don't believe you can do it. I don't know if there's any way that's legally possible to provide incentive.
Well, if you find out something or hear of something, please.
Anita?
Good morning, Andy
about it with special projects. Just to make a comment on your question, Mr. Cox, the city does have a DVE program, which is a disadvantaged business program, through partnership with TechStat, that allows us to give a priority or an incentive to small businesses that are local. And we're doing contracts, but it only applies to contracts. We can provide the council a copy of that plan that was approved last year.
Please, good.
We're submitting a grant in the amount of $32,000 to the governor's office to purchase a storage area network. Presently, the police department is working with 2 terabyte external drives to store their investigations, video recording, audio recording, and everything that pertains to their operations. We're going to make it more efficient. That's really behind on technology. We're submitting a grant to purchase a storage area network that has, I think it's 21 terabytes, so that exceeds by far the capacity that we have right now. So we'll be submitting that today. Also, we're working with PD on developing their policy to use the interrogation room that we received funding for. Before they release the funds, we need to have a policy in place for the officers to follow when they are using that equipment. Yesterday, the police department received the notice of award for the Stone Garden grant in the amount of $117,000.
For Stone Garden?
Yes, sir. That includes $40,000 to purchase a new vehicle, and the rest is for overtime operations. That's going to be worked. We're going to start working on that one, and it's going to be used in conjunction with the other grant that we received under Border Star, which is another $45,000 to operate overtime.
Sir, only presented last week, right?
Yes, that's the one we presented last week. Or I sent it last week. We're finishing the 2011 grant on the Border Star. I'm just missing one more draw to submit for reimbursement. Everything else has already been submitted, and we'll start with this 2012. In disaster relief, we're planning to meet in 2 weeks with all the agencies that are working in doing the emergency assistance. We're starting to do a phase out on the emergency assistance that's available. That includes the small repairs, as we mentioned, to replace or remove the mold or that sheetrock that was affected by the floods. We're meeting next week with Mr. Murphy to discuss the timeline, and we're going to be taking applications for the small program. We're planning to go into the 3 areas that were affected the most and deliver door hangers with deadlines on the time that in the different programs that we have for when people can come in and do their applications. That way we can close out that process and start working with the other grants that pertain to the infrastructure, the streets, and everything else that was damaged that we're working on. Right now we're working with 4 families on the rental assistance that were damaged by the floods. That's about $100,000 to help those 4 families cover the rent for 2 years. We submitted those grants, those applications last week. We have 1 more pending. We're working with another 3 families to rebuild their home. That's $250,000. We found I was able to allocate or identify the individual that's working with Army Corps of Engineers in doing the design for the improvements under the county's stormwater tank, master plan, out of Albuquerque. I spoke to him last week. We had a conference call. He's putting together a packet to let us know the status of that project. We know that if the county makes these improvements, we won't have a need to do a lot of the improvements that we're working or planning to do locally. So that's going to help us evaluate the road that we're going to take in doing these other projects. As soon as I get the packet, I will submit it to Mr. Murphy so he can share it with everybody in council. And we can review it, maybe have a conference call with the Army Corps of Engineers to talk about deadlines, funding, and other things that they're working on.
That would be good.
The next month presentation, I plan to do a presentation on how we secure grants, how we apply for money, what is the city able to apply, and what they're not able to apply. We keep hearing that there's all these millions of dollars available, but in reality, we cannot apply for every single money that's out there because we either don't qualify, we may not have the capacity, the systems. We're putting those systems in place, like the policies and everything else that we need to, and that's what we're working on. But the next month, we'll provide a presentation on where the places will be for the money.
Good. Any questions? Very good.
Morning, Mayor and Council. Pretty much everything what you said, that's on the report. So, yeah, he beat me to everything. And I'm gonna tell Sandra to put me up before him next time. Thank you.
Especially that about the storm garden, huh?
Yeah, that's it. Beat me to it. Okay,
Oh, I have a quick question.
no, go ahead.
About the stone garden, is that grant being used by everybody?
All police officers?
Is there an opportunity for every one of them to use it?
We are doing it the way the grant makes us do it, which is Sergeant Smith is in charge of it. He sends out an email to everybody, says, hey, these are the days that we're going to do the operation. Submit your name if you can work, what times, what days, and he puts out a schedule. He gets responses from the officers, so it's very fair the way it's being done. It's not just picking people, it's sending out an email to everybody, and then they respond, and then he sets them up for the schedule. So,
Could we get like a list of the people that has used the?
payroll has it,
Or no? Does it work?
No,
so,
We did once when.
that was like, no.
In a roundabout.
no, 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 no.
And I think, if I may.
Well, Mr. Smith, go ahead and start the presentation.
Well, along those lines,
Mr.
I mean, real quick, along those lines, I think what Mr. Flores is everybody, and you mentioned it, everybody
Yes.
getting a fair opportunity to put in the overtime and get access to this grant.
That's right, that's
And
right.
everybody's getting that.
yeah,
You answered
and
it.
Stone Garden mandates that we allow everybody to put it work. And just like all the other departments, they put it out to all their officers and say, hey, we're gonna have these operations. These are the dates and the times, when can you work? And then they send us the information, we'll plug them into the schedule.
And there's also officers that do not want to use it, right?
That's right, that's right. There's some officers who don't want to work any overtime at all. They think 40 hours is enough and a little bit of overtime, and they want to spend the rest of the time at home.
Just to say something, when we went to talk to, Mr. Wiles, he was there, the sheriff was. We went to, and he let us know what needed to be done. So, they're doing it the way it needs to be done, and that's what Mr. Montoya said. So, if some employees feel that they don't wanna work some more time, it's up to them. But they're doing what they were told, how to run the grant. And I feel confident that they're doing.
I have to agree. We are following the grant to the letter.
I just wondered.
Yeah. Not only that, but
Because
we,
it took a lot of talk with Sheriff Wiles and stuff so that we can get back to grant. There was some stuff that wasn't being followed. That's what they told us. So we went ahead and had a meeting with them and stuff. They said, hey, this is what you guys need to do. We've done it, and so far, we've got our grants back.
All right, go on, Ben.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and just start the
okay.
presentation.
We are still working on the property in evidence room. We hired Molly Vizcaíno, and she is currently working with Sergeant Smith to inventory and categorize and make sure everything is properly done in our property in evidence room. That's very important because that could bring up a lot of problems in the DA. If they try to discredit us or anything like that, the defense attorneys, they'll make the DA look bad. So we're getting everything in order in our property and evidence room. We're trying to account for every single piece of evidence and property that we have taken in for many years and make sure that we catalog everything and know exactly when to find it when the DA calls for it. So that's work in progress. We're at about 30%. Hoping that it'll be done by about August. Ms. Vizcaíno, again, under the direction of Sergeant Smith, is taking on a lot of tasks and we're getting a lot of work done in it. The grants, the fiscal year 2011, we're working with SO again because they're the administrator of the grant. We had $2,500 left in fiscal year 2011 money. We're trying to get an extension for that. So we will have fiscal year 2011 and 2012 working simultaneously. So as soon as we already got the grant awarded, we already have the quotes for the new vehicle. The Stone Garden is buying us another Explorer just like the ones that we have. So budget at all, so. And, after that, we have, like, Anibal said, 117,000 minus 48, you're looking about 70 grand in overtime and, fringe benefits, so. I know it's important to you all because we're gonna have a lot more people out in the streets. There's a lot of officers that do want to, again, like Mr. Rodriguez was asking, there's a lot of officers that do have time and do want to work the overtime, so, there's at least 3 or 4 that are consistently working. But we make it available and we change the hours, so we give everybody the opportunity. And, the other guys sign up here and there, but there's some that work it all the time, so. Border Star, is in the process of being awarded, but we just haven't heard anything. 2012 was just awarded this week, and it's supposed to run until May 2014. So it's just the way it works. I mean, so we still have till about September to finish that money, and if we don't finish it, then they'll give us an extension. We'll submit for an extension, and usually they're pretty good about it. I've already talked about the JAG grant, the Governor's Office's award. As far as the server goes, it's going to help us. Omar is getting quotes for the entire city, and we're going to receive probably about 32,000 through this grant to give the city a little bit of help on purchasing the whole network. So this grant's helping through the criminal justice system, division, or the governor's office. We're getting all this money that's going to help alleviate a lot of the cost for the city. Then we have the communications. We're at about 85% complete being having the interoperability with all county law enforcement agencies, and including federal and everybody else, DPS. We just have to put up one more repeater, which we have already at RTC, which is Motorola. And then we have a couple of consoles, which are to be digital, so we're going to go fully digital, and people can use a scanner to see what we're doing. Plus, we'll have that interaction with the other agents.
Just to remind you, Chief, don't forget that we have access to these towers over here on North Loop.
Right.
I saw to it that we got permission to use those towers to put our repeater equipment on there.
Right. We've tested them. We've tested them, and we have some sites at D1. D1's allowed us to put some stuff over there. North Loop, I think we might have one there, but we went as far as Clint. Our next one's gonna go up at Clint because it's more range, and it's bouncing off kind of like a triangle. So we're gonna be able to do radio to radio, and it sounds real clear. So, but we're looking at all, and in the future we need to put another repeater up. We'll probably use that site as well. As far as our investigations go, our biggest case right now is all over the media. A child that allegedly got assaulted at Philly Elementary. We're working with SISD police. We're handling the investigation, but we're keeping them in the loop. I met with the superintendent yesterday, and he was satisfied with what I told him. He was actually very surprised how much information I gave him. No specifics, but nobody had told him that before. So we're going to the meeting tonight at 6 o'clock at Socorro High School to kind of try and see what the public wants. And of course, we're not going to divulge any of the information because it's ongoing. And the one thing that they didn't understand, it's a sexual assault of a child alleged. So in the end, they can't even get an open records request for that entire case. That case is closed. When it's closed and an arrest is made, it's closed. Period. To protect the identity of the victim. So as you all know, it's all over the media. They keep 26 and 48 are advertising it a lot. They're getting a lot of ratings. So it's going to continue, and the people are going to keep coming to the meetings. So until we get a complete investigation, they're not going to be happy. So we'll see what happens. Code enforcement. We're still handling the code enforcement until 2 new employees come in. Mr. Norfleet consistently sends us stuff about things that need to be cleaned up, and also Roberta and Carolson are really good about still taking care of all that. We do have 4 applicants that we're testing March 9th, physical agility tests. So hopefully they'll pass. it's not a hard test, it's just that they are not ready for it. But some of them, it's gonna be their second time. Hopefully they can pass it. And we'll get our 3 positions filled. And then with the approval of the council, we're gonna get 20 more officers, you guys said? Next year? Roughly? That'd be good. Roughly. For a whole new shift. And then we have done, some of you have seen Kuna, some of you have come by, and I think most of you have. That one's pretty complete. And we're working on RVS here. We just got the tile work done. We've got I think we just need the floorboards, I mean the molding. Then we're gonna have the desk come in about 3 weeks. So hopefully we can get it here sooner, but this station's looking a lot better. It's looking a lot cleaner, and then we'll work a little more to see if we need any kind of IT equipment or anything. But that's pretty much it. As far as our stats go, we're still handling a ton of calls every week. On the average, we're handling about 450 to 500 calls per week. Okay, then we're also doing about 150 traffic stops per week. So you're looking at about 2,000 calls per month. Tickets are on the rise. The judge is working on getting that problem taken care of.
Yeah, we noticed that this morning.
Yeah, so we're working on with municipal court. Since she's not here, as you all know, the court now is Fridays or Mondays. I think she's going to change it because on Fridays it's kind of hard to get the officers in here. From here on, I think the arraignments are going to be on Fridays and officer support will be on Mondays. So this won't happen again. And we also have, of course, the extended hours. We're working together. We just put out a directive yesterday to make sure that we start running drivers for warrants to make sure we can execute as many warrants as we can to get those warrants taken care of because they're just piling up. But again, it's the personnel shortage that keeps us from executing the warrants.
No, you're aware of the overtime situation that happened in El Paso with El Paso PD, right?
With tech stop,
Yeah.
the officers were.
The overtime, where they lost a lot of officers and even high ranking officers.
Yes, yes.
That's what I wanted to. Now, another thing I want to tell you, the people in my district are very, I receive a lot of calls, and they're very happy that you are offering them patrol work. They're there, and I see a lot of cars when I've never seen them before.
I tell them to honk at you every time they pass by your house. No, you see what? Because one of the acting sergeant said he kept passing and passing, and he said, and you wouldn't see him, so you finally pull somebody over right in front of your house.
Yeah.
Then you wait.
Well, let's keep it up, okay?
Thank you.
You gotta get her to ring the doorbell, please.
Anybody else?
Right, thank you.
I don't know if you're watching me or watching
Thank
you.
you.
Item number 16, presentation by Sam Leone regarding planning and zoning department.
Ladies first. Of course. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor and Council. We have a list of our routine activities during the month. Somehow, the economy is getting a boost right now.
The economy?
The economy. We have increased the building inspections, the building permits, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, events, even though. So it's good for the economy. We have mobile vendor permits, especially on special occasions like Mother's Day, Valentine's. The vehicle registration is getting up to renewals, especially on renewals. I started since last year checking all the zoning classifications where the business are working, and I have found certain discrepancies from that. And that is why we we are inviting the business owners to get the proper zoning. We have a lot of rezoning cases and reclassification. We are covering the legal non-conforming also. And that's, the intention is that everybody is compliant. Mobile home pavement permits, we are also working on new regulations to allow mobile office structures within the city. It's, we don't have regulations to control that, but it's a fact, it's a reality. We got to be realistic and we need to allow those structures with conditions. We're working with BNZ in creating the proposed ordinance. We provide administration and presentation of the cases before Planning and Zoning Commission, Board of Adjustment, Historical, Museum, and Legal Council. We provide technical information internally and to external agencies like NPO, State, Texas Historical Commission of Paso County, utility companies. We provide the zoning and historical administration of the city. We are in the process of getting on the 10th of March. We will be having our two new code enforcers that will be helping us out on the enforcement of the codes. Subdivisions, last split applications. Part of a good evidence of the economy is the subdivision, the new subdivision projects we have in place. We are about to finish 2 new subdivisions, and we have almost ready to start 3 new subdivisions, 2 in District 4, Student Bowling, and another one in District 3. Behind the Gran Valle subdivision, and another one, Racet subdivision on North Loop, right next to the fire station. So it's getting up, and pretty soon we're gonna be, and even though we have an application that we're gonna start analyzing through BNC and also council, a new proposed subdivision right next to the Sierra Sur subdivision. And it's going to be a good discussion on that because they are planning to utilize a section that is recommended by the county as a potential use for water reservoir. That is a recommendation. It's not conforming. We're going to be, checking the pros and cons of that specific subdivision. We have an investment, private, it's a medical treatment facility on Moon Road and Melody. They are requesting our assistance to get an additional bridge to cross, to have a direct access from Alameda to that facility crossing the canal. And we are working with them in conjunction with the irrigation district. In this coming weeks, we're gonna be conducting a annexation workshop, discussing with you, giving you pros and cons of potential areas to be annexed, and the procedure. We are preparing this information, planning in conjunction with the city attorneys and the city manager. as soon as the city manager gives us the specific date, we will be properly informed. I heard that, from the presentation from Lieutenant Montoya, with respect to the additional patrol, as a result of storm guard grant, it's very important because I'm gonna receive a list of the vandalism we are suffering with respect to the new signalization project we are conducting right now. 2 days ago, I was doing a field inspection, Chicago was present, and they were reporting to me that several new stop signs and speed signs and new signalization are totally not done. It's not, cannot be considered as accidental because the 4 signs on the same intersection have been destroyed. So, and we have a sign at several intersection suffering that vandalism. So I'm glad that the city is getting more patrol. And thank you to Lieutenant Montoya for
Sam,
his service.
just really quick on the signalization project, I know we're putting up the signs, what's the next step? Is it the speed bumps that are next?
Yes, right now we are putting the warning signs.
Yeah, I saw them over there.
Yeah. and
I was driving all slow, like, there's no speed bump here.
No, we need to have at least 5 or 6 days before the implementation of the obstacle. If not, we can, create an accident.
All right, so just talk me through this, I can go ahead and let people know, so it was
So
the
next
signs, and then the speed bumps, and is that it, or is that that?
Yes, next week we're gonna be working on the speed humps on district number 1, and I thought that I was going to start on district number 2, but apparently I'm gonna be starting on your district the following week, okay? Because I don't want to leave a district with pending defects. I think that's about it. Any questions? Yes, sir.
A few years back, with these new developments, we talked about, and I just need you to refresh my memory on this issue, okay?
Yes.
We talked about trying to present impact fees for these new developments to help with the offset the cost of the streets and the sidewalks and stuff like that in these new, in Socorro. Can you refresh my memory as to what happened, why we got away from it?
Okay, now that the city, several months ago, refresh my memory, Ms. Rodriguez, because you promoted the lift of the subdivision moratorium.
I don't remember.
About 5 or 6 months. Yes, from that on, we were able to apply, now with the new subdivision, to apply the impact fees of $400 per lot. And I don't want to say it's a good load, it's a good revenue for the city, but we are applying those.
So they are impact, okay.
Yes, sir.
I have another one, sir, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Like, go ahead, Gloria, go first.
No, I'm done.
Go first. This one, presentation, go ahead.
Calm down.
No, let her go first, and you can go back to you. Go ahead, Gloria.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
one question. A couple of weeks back, several weeks back, people were calling me from the Chido. It's an outside
Oh, yeah,
venue.
morning.
And they were complaining to me that their fee had gone from, I think, $35 to $75. And they wanted me to bring it up to the council and to everybody. And I think I mentioned it to Mr. Northway.
Those were from months ago, right, Sam?
Yes, I think it was an increment from 35 to 50. That's
Well,
per
they told me
year.
75 per year, yes.
Per year. I think it's
But they were saying that it was so much money, and they wanted to see if we could possibly reduce the price, because they don't sell a whole lot of things.
It's up to you. You have the authority to reduce that. But at the same time, when I presented the petition to increment or to increase these fees, I presented the comparison within the surrounding municipalities. But if you would like to,
I think it depends on each municipality, and they were saying,
we do have a penalty, but it has to come through them, it's like, again, custom stuff, I know they're admin, we're policymakers, so. But anybody have a question for Costos? Go ahead.
I have one. Just make sure that when we start doing the speed bumps and all the signalization, if we're gonna go start from 1, then go to 2, then 2, 3, 3, 4.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that we won't be jumping up and down, just one section at a time, get it done.
Exactly, and the intention is, as soon as we finish with one district, not leaving any pendings, we're going to come to the second one. Yes, sir.
All right, we have, there's about 3 or 4 areas in permits where we allow the public to do their own work in regards to plumbing and their homes and stuff like that. Was it plumbing, carpentry, what else is it? There's a couple more.
The most controversial activity permitted by the codes in a residential project, and believe me, it's controversial because I'm going to entertain a possible modification of that, is plumbing. Electrical they're not allowed because it's difficult, but plumbing is. And what happened to that? They have the right to, it has to be the home's tenant, okay? Let's say that a property owner, and a specific individual has 4 properties, but he lives in 1. So he's allowed to do that work on his own in the dwelling he's living in. Okay. The problem is this: when they apply to do it by themselves, because of the lack of experience, we have a lot of controversial situations. They claim that we are not giving them the right direction because they don't have the experience. We can provide them even though with a diagram, with definition and specifications, but if they don't have the experience, they're not going to be, getting the results that we need to pass the inspection. And as a result of that, they will be charged with a reinspection fee, and that's the controversial part of the project. And we are willing to help them, definitely, and that's our responsibility. Number 1 responsibility is to help them, but at the same time, we cannot decide for them. We cannot do it for them because we're going to be running for liability. So the city, I'm doing an investigation. Apparently, and I need to check that. Apparently, the city of El Paso and the city of Horizon, they are not allowing to do not even the simple things. Because they are taking a lot of time, they are receiving reinspection fees, and at the end, the purpose of getting the permit for themselves is to save money, not to pay for a contractor, and they're going to be paying more. And with more time to do it. So I'm going to be doing an analysis on that, discuss it with PNC, and depending on their recommendation, if they accept, I will be doing the presentation before.
And let me just recommend, you're going in the right direction. The problem is that when our inspectors go out there and these people don't follow the directions that you guys have given, they're giving the inspectors a hard time with being red tagged, when they get red tagged. And if the inspector's out there just doing his job and following the code the way it's supposed to be, then the inspector should not be subject to any kind of abuse or any kind of issues from these people who are not following the direction. If they got red tagged, they got red tagged because they failed to do the job properly. So I might recommend you, when you talk to planning and zoning and all those other people, that if we're going to give them instructions, if they're going to do it on their own, if we're going to allow them to do their own, they need to follow the format and sign off on that format. If failure to sign off on that format constitutes a red tag, then they cannot be bothering our inspectors and giving our inspectors a hard time. I'm going to ask you to look into that. Maybe we need to get, to be more understanding of it, I'll get with you.
Absolutely.
Okay?
No.
All right.
And even though, or let me tell you this, when I see, or when an applicant wants to speak with me with respect to a red tag, I analyze the situation. If for some reason I see that our inspector failed in something, I'm able to remove that,
The red tag?
Yes, sir.
All right. Super, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
As far as construction goes on District 3, a lot of constituents call and they say that the dump trucks, not the dump trucks, but the cement trucks are still passing on Bowie and they should pass on the other main street.
Okay, let me check on that because we have, we need to analyze this situation. Is Bobby, they are passing through that street because we have two subdivisions in progress right now. That is the only way to provide the concrete. And by law, they are authorized to pick up in the lift, even though if the street is not considered as a heavy traffic road.
No, we're talking about cement trucks.
Yeah, we're concrete.
Yes, sir.
All right. For an interest in that, the issue came up way back to when that development opened up over there.
But I apologize for the interruption. This is related to that specific comment. We're not allowing them to go from North Loop to Bobby Road, but by Alameda to Bobby Road, because we have a very weak culvert, about 300 or 400 feet from the intersection of Socorro Road and Bobby, so they don't supposed to be using that section because of the culvert irrigation.
Right. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, so that's it. We have deletion of items 17, 18, and 19.
Second.
17, 18. All right, the motion is second.
Motion made by Gloria Rodriguez, seconded by Rene Rodriguez, to delete items 17 through 19. Victor Perez is absent. Rene Rodriguez.
Aye.
Joseph Pauling.
Aye.
Sergio Cox.
Yes, ma'am.
And Gloria Rodriguez. Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Gloria Rodriguez, seconded by Rene Rodriguez, to adjourn. Victor Perez is absent. Rene Rodriguez.
Aye.
Joseph Pauling.
All right.
Sergio Cox. And Gloria Rodriguez.
10:45, meeting adjourned.
We adjourn at 10:45.
Thank you.